Next up, we have Misha Cirkunov versus Wellington Turman. Misha coming in as a -120 favorite, Turman plus 100 underdog. Very close on the odds here. And this is going to be an interesting fight because Misha just recently went down from light heavyweight to middleweight. His debut in the division ended up being a loss, but he's definitely big for the division. Very strong guy. I watched his last fight where I was able to see he's got like a kind of a Muay Thai type stance, very flat-footed, very light on the front foot, pretty stationary. Was able to walk down his opponent. He likes to put on pressure, throws lots of leg kicks, landed more leg kicks than head kick or head strikes or body strikes. Had multiple takedown attempts. Very heavy wrestler. Had 17 takedown attempts in his last fight. 5 of those were successful. So even though it would be considered low on the takedown accuracy, if you're taking that many takedowns, it doesn't matter. You're still going to put yourself in a good position. He was able to get 5 takedowns in that match. And one of the things that stood out to me about his wrestling that I really liked was he didn't have a ton of offensive wrestling. He really used his wrestling defensively, where he was timing his takedowns. He's waiting for his opponent to throw something, and that's when he would change levels and shoot that takedown, which I think reduces a lot of the risk when a guy's throwing a punch and you're ducking under the punch versus offensively, where you take a shot out in the open. I feel like there's a lot more chance you can catch a knee, catch a shin to the head. So a lot I liked about his wrestling. With Turman, his last fight was against Sam Alvey, who I believe you were rooting for Sam Alvey in that last fight. But Turman, also wrestling heavy, had 9 takedown attempts in that fight against Alvey. Only 2 of them were successful, though. And the interesting thing I thought was a difference is that Turman seemed to be using his wrestling much more offensively, and he also does some setups for his wrestling. The kinds of setups that I saw was where he uses this like leaping lead left hook that he'll throw, and then he'll change levels and take his shot. And I saw that leaping left hook multiple times during the match. He also uses his overhand right with no setup, which might be a problem, especially for a guy like Cirkunov, who is more of a defensive wrestler, where he takes his shots based on the strikes that his opponent is throwing. And if you're throwing an overhand right and you're throwing a leaping, lead left hook, those seem like the perfect kind of strikes to be able to change levels and take a shot. So I am expecting that Cirkunov is going to time some shots, be able to take down Turman probably multiple times throughout the match. And I'm picking Cirkunov to win. I don't think that Turman has enough striking diversity or enough setups to be able to deal with the wrestling that Cirkunov is going to bring to the match. I think Cirkunov's going to time a takedown. He's going to get ground and pound or possibly even a submission.
Yeah, I agree with you on that one. I think, seeing Thurman's last fight, Alvey against Alvey, where he was winning, and then, the eye pokes kind of made it close. He wasn't out wrestling Sam. It was pretty close in the clinch. It was pretty even. With somebody who has legitimate wrestling, abilities and is, larger in size and physically strong, I think it's possible that he's gonna get manhandled by his opponent this fight. So Cirkunov just looks like a beast. I don't know what he's eating. I don't know I don't want to assume that he's taking things, but when people are just that ripped, you're just like, man, how?
He's coming down from light heavyweight, so he's got to do some body transformation, and to go down a division, he's got to have no body fat. So yeah, he looks pretty shredded, and he looks pretty big, and he looks pretty powerful, and yeah, that's why I think also going to play to his favor, especially when it comes to wrestling.